Today, we're diving into an idea that is so radical it might just change how you think about life itself. We're going to look at viruses, but not as the animals we all think they are. No, we're going to see them as a fundamental, absolutely essential part of our planet's very existence.
And that really is the question, isn't it? For as long as we've known about them, we've seen viruses as these tiny, destructive villains. But what if that's only seeing a tiny piece of the puzzle? What if there's something way more fundamental, something woven right into the fabric of who we are? So, to even begin to get our heads around that, we have to step back and ask an even bigger question. It's one that biology has been wrestling with forever. What does it actually mean for something to be alive? The definition you probably learned in high school is pretty straightforward. A virus is basically a non-living little package of genetic code. It has no metabolism, it can't reproduce by itself, it has to hijack a living cell to do its bidding. But this simple definition creates a fascinating problem. Okay, so check this out. On the left, you've got a virus particle. All by itself, it's totally inert, can't do a thing. Now on the right, you have a mitochondrion. That's one of the tiny little organs from inside one of your own cells. If you take it out of the cell, guess what? It's also completely inert. It can't function, it can't reproduce. Yet we always say the mitochondrion is part of a living thing, but we call the virus non-living. See the contradiction? The problem isn't the virus, it's our definition of life. To solve this puzzle, we have to do something kinda radical. We need to completely change our perspective. We need to stop focusing on individual trees or animals and zoom out, way out, until we can see the entire planet as a single living system. And that brings us to this incredible concept, the hyper-organism. This idea, which builds on the Gaia hypothesis, suggests that the whole biosphere, literally every plant, animal, fungus, and microbe, is so deeply connected that it all functions like one giant self-regulating body. Life isn't just the individual animal. Life is the entire planetary system. All right, let's build this idea up piece by piece. We all start with the basic unit of life we recognize, the cell. Now, you get billions and billions of these cells working together, coordinating, and what do you have? You get a more complex system, an organism. Could be a mushroom, a massive redwood tree, or you. And this is where we take the final mind-bending leap. What if every single one of those organisms is really just acting like a cell in an even bigger body? Put them all together, and you get the ultimate system, the planetary hyperorganism. So, if the planet is one giant organism, where do viruses fit into this near picture? Well, when you look through this new lens, they stop looking like invaders at all. And here it is. This is the core idea. Viruses aren't some foreign enemy. They are an essential part of the hyperorganism's machinery. The best way to think of them is as mobile organelles, tiny functional parts that travel between the different components of the planetary body, the parts we call species. This analogy really makes it click. Look, a cell has specialized organelles for different jobs, right? The nucleus stores the information. The mitochondria handle energy production. Well, the planet has its own large-scale systems. The global genome, all DNA on Earth, is its information storage. Photosynthesis is its energy production. So what's the planet's system for transferring genetic data between different parts? You got it. That's the virus. It is the planet's organelle for horizontal gene transfer. So what are these mobile organelles actually doing? Well, they have two absolutely massive jobs. First, they act as a kind of genetic internet, a global cloud that shares genetic software and updates between all sorts of different species. And second, they help maintain the planet's balance, its homeostasis. For example, by managing huge populations of ocean plankton, they cycle critical nutrients like carbon, basically keeping the whole planet's metabolism running smoothly. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds like a really cool but very abstract theory. But here's the thing. The most powerful evidence for this whole idea isn't in some distant rainforest or deep in the ocean. It's right inside of you. It's written into your very own DNA. 8%. Let that sink in for a second. A full 8% of what you consider to be your human genome isn't actually human in origin at all. It's the fossilized code of ancient viruses that became a permanent part of our ancestors millions of years ago. They're called endogenous retroviruses, or ERVs. Now, this isn't like having an infection. This is ancient viral software that successfully docked with our operating system, our DNA, and just became a permanent part of what it means to be us.
And get this old viral code isn't just sitting there collecting dust, it's doing some of the most critical work in our bodies. There's a protein called syncytin, which is absolutely essential for the human placenta to form. That protein comes from a repurposed viral gene. Without that ancient virus, none of us would be here. It gets even wilder. A protein called ARC, which is critical for our brains to form long-term memories, is literally a repurposed viral capsid, the protein shell of a virus. We form memories using old viral parts. It's unbelievable.
So let's just pull all of this together. The moment we shift our perspective, the moment we stop looking at just the individual, and we start looking at the entire planet, the role of the virus completely transforms. It goes from being a destructive parasite to a constructive, essential part of the network.
There's a quote that just nails this idea perfectly. The virus is the hardware update of the biosphere. They aren't a bug in the system. They are the system update.
So the ultimate takeaway here is this. Viruses are not separate from life. They aren't at war with it. They are the information network. They are the system that allows the entire planetary organism to learn, to adapt, and to evolve as one single, coherent being.
And that leaves us with a pretty profound question to chew on. If the planet really is one organism, and we are just a part of it, and viruses are a key feature of its operating system, what does that change about how we see, well, everything?